Good evening. I have the time as 7:32, so I will call the public hearing and regular business meeting of the mayor and council for the city of Snellville, Georgia, Monday, July 8th, 2024 to order. I did want to make an announcement before we start into the meeting that if anyone is here to speak on or to learn more about any of the rezonings that are taking place, notably the Baptist Church, there's townhomes on Highway 78, and then there's apartments proposed for the Ryans. If you're here to speak on one of those projects tonight, I do want to let you know that tonight is only what we refer to as a first read of those projects. Because these would be ordinance changes if they were to pass, the city charter and code requires two readings at two separate meetings. So what happens, and this happens on every zoning case and it happens on every time we change a law in the city, is we have a first reading, in which case I will only be reading the title that is listed on the agenda, and then a council member will make a motion to waive the first reading and place it on our July 22nd meeting. So that is the process, and it will be at the July 22nd meeting that we will hear, the city council will hear from the applicant, from the city's planning director, and then we will open the floor for comments and input from the public. So if you are here specifically to give input on these projects tonight, that will not occur during the official meeting. Of course, you are welcome to stay till the end. We do have public comments where you can come up one time, speak for 5 minutes on any one topic. So public comment is available to anyone to speak on any issues that they have in the city. But otherwise, any public hearing and fleshing out and final votes on those projects will not take place until July 22nd.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned the email address that's on the screen.
The email address that is on the screen, mayorcouncil@snellville.org, is a way for you to submit comments, and that email address will hit every council member and myself. So you don't have to sit and type in everybody's name and email address. So we welcome your comments and your feedback. And I personally prefer to have your comments and feedback ahead of the July 22nd meeting. It allows me some more time to kind of think through everything and put it all together when we're making those final deliberations. Okay? So I just wanted to explain that process to anybody in case you're here for that meeting. If you choose to leave, that's fine too. But again, you are welcome to stay, kind of see what the process looks like. We've got quite a few first reads on our agenda for tonight. So now we will move to the invocation, and we have Mayor, former representative and current VP of Economic Development at Gwinnett Tech to lead us in the invocation, Melvin Everson.
Thank you, Your Honor, Mayor and Council. Let us pray. Father God, we come this evening, first of all, to give you thanks for all that you've done to us and for us. And Father, we thank you for not long ago we celebrated the birthday of this nation. And because of that, we are able to assemble here peacefully as American citizens. And we lift this council up to you, that you will continue to guide them as they represent the city of Snellville and everything that goes on. Because in your word, you said the government shall be up on your shoulders, and you were the first origin of government. And we thank you for that opportunity. We thank you for those citizens that are here who will witness the workings of government at the local level, the city council. And we just give you all the praise and glory because you are truly worthy to be praised. And this we say in the only name that matters, the matchless name of Jesus the Christ, we say amen.
Amen. Thank you, Melvin. And now, if you are able, if you will stand for the pledge to be led by Mayor Pro Tem Todd Warner. And now we have one item under ceremonial matters, and I will turn this over to Kelly McAloon and Ron Weber. And Greg Bender.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I find after all these years, a lot of you have seen me up here. It's very strange not to see Dave here. I said, what happened to Dave? What'd you guys do with Dave? Where'd he go? He's gone. One side of me said, oh man, the other side, oh, depending on which side I was on at what time. Anyway, I represent the Run the Reagan. That's that wonderful road race where we shut down the Ronald Reagan Parkway for a Saturday, and I want everyone to know that a lot of good things come out of it. It's been going on now for 29 years. This was our 29th year. And the recipients, the major recipients this year were the, and Greg, I'm sorry, South Gwinnett School Cluster Foundation? Is that South Gwinnett Cluster Foundation. When we first started, I was part of this mess when we first started back in 2008. And it had a name that I never could remember, but anyway, it was recipients this year are South Gwinnett, Brookwood, and the Lilburn Co-op were the big ones. There are numerous other little grants given out to people that participated and helped, that went through all the different schools, clubs, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, all kinds of different things, cheerleaders, bands, but the three majors I just named. This is made possible through this council, thank you very much, and the Gwinnett County Board of Commissioners, who grant us the right to use their parkway once a year. Major sponsors was our major sponsor, our feature sponsor, is our neighbor over here, Piedmont Eastside, Kroger, Coca-Cola, Piedmont Urgent Care, Piedmont Orthopedics, that's not talking too much here. E.R. Snell, Academy Sports, Cannon Methodist Church, and a whole slew of others, but those were the major ones. We run a half marathon, a 10K, a 5K, and a 1 mile fun run. Board members include Amanda Soseby, Molly Weathers, Melvin, who just stepped away from us this year after many years. Thank you, Melvin. Kelly McAloon, who's still with us, yay. John Allred, Ryan Bocut, who represents Piedmont Eastside, Steve Ridley, and Brett Savage, who's the principal at Brookwood High School. All those things said, I'm here tonight to, should have come over.
Yes, Ron.
Sorry. Usually it's David that picks on me for taking too long. You're filling in now. You're in charge now. Well, it's my honor tonight to present a check to the South Schools Foundation for $10,000.
Just a little bit this way. All right. 1, 2, 3. Got it. Just following directions.
Thank you, Teresa. Thanks, John. We're very excited to have that $10,000.
So Melvin just said he's and if you don't know who the South Gwinnett Cluster Foundation is,
Thank you for your patience. I usually take longer. Todd?
so the South Gwinnett Cluster Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit. Our primary goal is to raise funds from different events like the Run the Reagan And those funds go directly back into the school specifically for educational purposes at the high school and high school, middle school, and elementary school for all the schools in the South Winnet cluster. So if you want to sponsor us in anything we do, keep your eyes open, and we'd be happy to have you participate. Thanks.
Thank you all. We appreciate the Run the Reagan. It still boggles my mind that it's been going on for 29 years.
29 years, is that crazy?
It is. It's very crazy. But they bring a lot of people into the city with that race. A lot of runners come out because it is a sanctioned race, or I don't know what they call that.
It is a
Qualifying run. And my family, we've done the 5K walk for the past couple of years. It really is a fun day to take part in. All right, now we will move to the minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of the June 10th, 2024 meetings.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. We have no invited guests or committee or department reports, so we'll move to the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, make motion to approve tonight's agenda with the following additions. Under new business, add item F, which is Resolution 2024-11, resolution to provide for an extension of time to study the changes necessary to the Unified Development Ordinance of the City of Snellville related to the regulation of medical cannabis dispensaries. And then item G, Resolution 2024-12, resolution to provide for an extension of time to update the Unified Development Ordinance of the City of Snellville related to the regulation of CBD stores.
So there's a motion to approve the agenda, adding 2 new items under new business F and G. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. Now we will move to the public hearing section of our meeting, and we have item A, provide citizens the opportunity to submit written and oral comments on the proposed 2024 millage rate. We are proposing at the current time a millage rate of 4.0 mils, which is the same millage rate that we've had for the past 2 years. Prior to that, it was 4.58. So I think it was 3 years ago we reduced the millage to 4, and we intend to keep the millage rate at 4 again for this year. However, under state law, this still counts as a tax increase because we are not rolling back the millage rate to a full rollback rate, which would be around 3.89, 3.7. So what this means, if we keep the millage rate the same, if your property if the value has not changed on your property, you will have no change in your city taxes. The only time your city taxes may change is if you were revalued, which I know we were. So we have a public hearing tonight. I will open the floor in just a second for anyone who would like to come up and comment on the millage rate being at 4.0 mils. We also have 2 additional public hearings on this millage rate agenda item. The first will be Monday, July 22nd at 11:30 in the morning. And the second meeting will be at 6 p.m. on July 22nd. And then we'll have the final adoption at 7:30. So with that, I will open the floor to public comments. If anyone would like to make any comments on the millage rate, please step forward to the microphone and provide your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Kat Hardrick, 2280 Buckley Trail. Thank you, everyone. I just ask that you consider with the millage rate to give us some type of relief. Although the increase may be small for some, between $40 and $30 year after year, it is going up. And our property values are increasing. And there are many of us who are on fixed incomes, and that small amount does make a difference, a negative impact on our families. So if you can do anything to give the citizens of Snellville some relief when it comes to our taxes, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close the public comment. And we will move on to item B. Item B, first reading, RZ 24-01, LUP 24-01, SUP 24-01. Consideration and action on applications by the First Baptist Church of Snellville, Inc., the property owner, and Eris Holdings, LLC, the applicant, requesting to amend the Snellville 2045 future land use map from residential low density to town center, amend the official zoning map from RS 30 single family residential district to TCR town center residential district, request for a special use permit, and request for variances from the Snellville Unified Development Ordinance for a multifamily development consisting of 300 town center flat units on a 16.96 plus or minus acre tract located at Henry Clower Boulevard, Pine Street, and Church Street, Snellville. Tax parcels are 5027011, 015, 016, 016A, 020, 021, 097, 009, 124, 113, 007, and 11,325 square feet of Pine Street right-of-way to be abandoned. Is there a motion?
Motion to waive the first reading on RZ 24-01, LUP 24-01, and SUP 24-01, and to place this on the July 22nd agenda for second reading and public hearing.
Okay, there is a motion to waive and move to the July 22nd meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. Next, we have, we have item C, first reading, UDO 24-01, consideration and action on amendment to the text of the Snellville Unified Development Ordinance to adopt a local amendment to the Georgia State Minimum Standard Plumbing Code and maintain the Metro Water District Water Efficiency Code requirements per action item, water supply, water conservation -8, page 555 of the December 2022 Water Resources Management Plan. All of this is to say that the state has changed the requirements for the amount of water your toilets can have, and we have to conform to that. So that is what we are doing in this. It is a first reading. Is there a motion?
Motion to waive the first reading of UDO 24-01 and place it on the agenda for a second reading and public hearing on July 22nd.
There's a motion. Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. I have item D. First reading, RZ 24-02, consideration and action on application by Vikram Chahardi and Grace Ridge Snellville, LLC, the property owners, and Parkland Communities, Inc., the applicant, requesting to amend the official zoning map from BG General Business District to RTH Townhome Residential District, and request for variances from the Snellville Unified Development Ordinance for 64-unit single-family attached townhome development on an 8.174 plus or minus acre site located adjacent to the Town Center Office Park at 2785 West Main Street, Snellville. Tax parcels 5007165, 282, 283, and 285. Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, at this point, I would like to recuse myself from the vote on the first reading on this rezoning.
Thank you. We'll give you a moment to step out. Okay, now is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, make a motion to waive the first reading of RZ 24-02, consideration and action on the application by Vicom Strawberry. Yeah. No, wrong one? Oh.
Don't read it.
Okay, I'm done.
Did we get a proper motion? There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I got Carrie on that one.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 5 in favor with none opposed. We'll bring Gretchen back in the room. We have to wrestle these chairs up here, I tell you. Okay, now we have item E, first reading, RZ 24-03, SUP 24-02. Consideration and action on applications by Shifa Real Estate Investments LLC, the property owner, and SPG Planners and Engineers, the applicant, requesting to amend the official zoning map from BG General Business District to TCR Town Center Residential District. Request for a special use permit for Town Center flat residential units, and request for variances from the Snellville Unified Development Ordinance for a proposed 5-story Town Center flat residential building with a 171 unit mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units on a 2.76 plus or minus acre site located in the Town Center Overlay District at 2380 Wisteria Drive, Snellville. Tax parcel 538133. Is there a motion?
Motion to waive the first reading on RZ 24-03 and SUP 24-02, and to place the item on the July 22nd agenda for a second reading and public hearing.
There's a motion to waive. Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. We have nothing under our consent agenda, no old business, so we'll move to new business. Again, another first reading. We have item A, first reading, ordinance 2024-07, consideration and action on approval of the ordinance for the amendment and restatement of the agreement of the Georgia Municipal Employees Benefit System Defined Retirement Plan. What we're doing here, again, this is a first reading because it is an ordinance, but this is an update to the retirement plan document that the city has for the employee benefits. This is required every so often. The IRS updates the language in retirement plan documents, and you have to go ahead and update your plan document to agree to that language to not have problems with the IRS down the road. So that is what we are doing. All of our retirement benefits are handled by the Georgia Municipal Association Employee Benefit Program, and we're conforming to the documents, plan documents that they're requiring. Is there a motion?
Motion. Oh, go ahead, Gretchen, sorry.
Motion to waive the first reading of ordinance 2024-07 and place it on the agenda of the July 22nd meeting for a second reading and public hearing.
Well, there won't be a public hearing, but there will be a second reading. So there is a motion to waive and place on the July 22nd meeting agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second. All in favor? That is 6 in favor with none opposed. We have item B, consideration and action on approval of an intergovernmental cooperation agreement with Gwinnett County for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development CDBG program, urban county qualification and authorization for the mayor to execute the cooperation agreements. This is a housekeeping measure. The county participates with the U.S. Department of Housing, and they receive grant funds every year from the state and federal government. And then when we join in with the county, we're able to request grants through the CDBG program, grants for city projects here. And this is every 3 years we have to agree to do this again. We adopt the agreement every 3 years just so that we can maintain the ability to access those grants with the county. So that's what we are doing in this agenda item. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the intergovernmental cooperation agreement with Gwinnett County as read by the mayor and allow the mayor to execute the contract.
There is a motion. Is there a second? There is a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. We have item C, consideration and an action on adoption of resolution 2024-09 to include municipal boundaries as part of the Gwinnett County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan. Again, this is another housekeeping item. We work within the county's mitigation plan for hazards. This would be man-made or weather-related type disasters that can happen. We work through the county and work with them with their hazard mitigation plan, and then we need to be able to adopt this and participate with that so that we can have access to FEMA funding or GMA funding should an emergency happen. With that, is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, make a motion that we adopt resolution 2024-09 and approve the mayor to sign the documents.
There is a motion to adopt. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. Now we have item D, consideration and action on the purchase of Christmas decorations for the Grove. Councilmember Linsky.
As we have added and opened portions of the Grove, we really want to bring our Christmas decor up to the excellence that we achieved last year in 2023. That requires an additional purchase of some pole mounts because we have Wisteria Drive that we want to cover this year that should be up and running power-wise, as well as our brand new street that cuts right through the center of the Grove development, Thomas Snell Way. So, okay, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of Christmas decorations for the Grove in the contract amount of $38,831.63. The contract is with Christmas Decor. The contract amount includes a reimbursement of $3,000 from Snellville Tourism and Trade to the City of Snellville, pending approval of the contract by the city attorney and to authorize the mayor to sign it.
We have a motion and a second. Councilman Berlinski, can you clarify the amount? I was thinking we talked about 35,000. Did I have something?
We
wrong?
did. We were advised to go ahead and do the
Full amount.
full amount and allow stat to reimburse us with the 3,000.
Got it.
So we would be paying out the same amount, just apples and apples.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilmember Linsky and a second by Councilmember Carter. Any discussion by council? I would just like to say thank you again to Christy and to Kelly. I know you're on that little committee there for doing the Christmas decorations. This is a very detailed, arduous process to have to go through, and then you have people like me that comes back and says, oh, I don't know. What about this option? What about this option? And so I know it's been a lot of work for you and appreciate it. And Gretchen.
I was on the committee last year, and then this year when they met, I was out of town visiting our daughter, so I didn't get involved in the
minutia.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have a motion to purchase additional decorations with a second.
Madam Mayor, could I interrupt one more
Yes.
point? This is money that is coming out of our hotel motel fund tax. Just wanted to point that out to promote trade and tourism in the city.
Thank you. With that, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. Next, we have item E, authorize Mayor Bender to enter into a pending settlement agreement regarding the national opioid settlement. There is another settlement that's being negotiated or has been negotiated with Kroger stores, and we just need to sign that settlement agreement to participate. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we authorize Mayor Bender to enter into a pending settlement agreement regarding the national opioid settlement.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. Now we have new item F, Resolution 2024-11, regarding an additional 6-month moratorium for cannabis dispensaries. Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, make motion that we adopt Resolution 2024-11, medical cannabis dispensary moratorium extension.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
So motion and a second. What we're doing here on these next two items is we've had a moratorium on cannabis dispensaries and also CDB stores so that no new applications would be received or be taken until we could update our ordinances to allow us to regulate those type of stores here in the city. So this has given us, we just need a little extra time on those ordinances that are almost done. This has given us an additional 6-month moratorium on that. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. And then again, this will be the same thing on Resolution 2024-12 for CDB stores, another 6-month moratorium. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2024-12 to extend the moratorium on CDB stores.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. So that concludes our business portion of the meeting, so we will move to council reports, and we'll start with Councilmember Norman Carter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a few items I'd like to mention in my reports. First of all, Mike Sabar, he's here somewhere. Thank you. I'd just like to thank you for inviting City Council to your Flag Day ceremony. I found it to be very well put together, very well appreciated by both local and state officials. And it was my first one attending, and I really appreciated it. Thank you. Folks, from July 20th to July 25th, I and most of my council members, in fact, all of us, attended the annual Georgia Municipal Association Conference that comes up every year. Very important for this new guy, because I learned so very much. The classes I took were the planning and zoning, which will help me not only here for our council meetings, but as part, I am on the Downtown Development Association. So that's going to help me with that department also. I took the municipal courts post-Ferguson 1 course, promoting justice, even for this old cop. That's very important. So I really got a lot out of that. And public works services, which really gave me an idea about the impact of infrastructure and how that figures into what we do here in the city and for our citizens. Now, the biggest takeaway I had from these seminars is the concerns for traffic, water and sewer, and making long-term decisions when it comes to business and residential growth, which are weighty concerns not only here in Snellville, but throughout the state. And, you know, the recent water break in the Tanglewood subdivision really brings that to the fore right now, and it makes me realize that we here in Snellville need to be more proactive than reactive when it comes to our water and sewer concerns. And I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit later. Several people, many of whom I assume live in Snellville, submitted a letter to council members. We get your letters, we read them, noting their concern about a national movement about cutting back on quality of life issues. I'd like to put that all to rest right now. We're not cutting back on quality of life issues here in Snellville. We've increased the dates of the month where we have the our quality of life court from one day a month to 2 times a month, just to get those cases done. And now we have an attorney who is very well in tune with what council and the citizens want as far as protecting the standards that we expect here in Snellville. So I wanted to just put that to rest, and I thank you, and I'm sure all of us thank you for your letters of concern to us about this issue. And lastly, I would like to thank Kelly McAloon, Annabelle, and Snellville Tourism and Trade for the stellar July 4th Star-Spangled Celebration. It was off the chain, off the chain. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe, stay smart, and stay civil. Thank you.
Thank you, Norman. Councilmember Hetherington.
Good evening, everyone. To echo Norman, the GMA conference was like drinking from a fire hose. There was a lot of information that came at us very quickly, and I'm still filtering through a whole lot of that. Once again, as I've said so many times when we've had training, again, Norman and I are very fortunate to have the council around us that we do, that keep us informed on how things work and what we need to be doing and what we need to know. I ended up in classes with a lot of people who were also newly elected, who were the only representatives that came to GMA from their city. And that's hard. It was hard for us as new people to know where to be and when to be and what to do and what was important. And we were very fortunate to have our entire council there together, learning together how to better serve you all. One of the classes I took was on regional cooperation and working with cities in the area, working with our council on how to best implement programs and plans that will benefit not only our city, but other cities as well, where we can work together to do what's best for the largest group of people. And I had some conversations that weekend that were kind of moving in that direction, so that's really exciting. Also want to make sure we welcome Mercy Montgomery, our new assistant city attorney. She's been around for a few weeks, but city manager. I even verified that. My brain's still full from GMA, guys. Want to welcome Mercy. She's been around for a few weeks, but sickness and vacations and whatnot, this is her first actual meeting with us. We're very glad to have her. She's already serving you all very, very well. Thank you. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Thank you, Carrie. And now we'll go to Councilmember Linsky.
Go ahead and get my slideshow up. Always the teacher, I had to go with the PowerPoint with time transitions. Originally, I wanted to share the joys that the Snellville Youth Commission experienced right up against, however, Kelly McAloon's amazing event that was about 10 times larger than the tiny event that we planned. I gained an absolute new respect for Kelly when we went through this process. First of all, we have the Grove, a stunningly beautiful space to hold an event. And this was, of course, our first Unity Day and Juneteenth festival, June 19th, very first event in the Grove. Kelly was doing events on the town green before it had extensive power, before we had a town center, and without a whole lot of the beauty of the facilities that we currently see here with the Grove. And it just really made me appreciate the work that went into putting an event of this nature together. But you can see the beautiful pavilion. Snellville Youth Commission, this was their very first large-scale event showcase for the city, and I do hope that it becomes a yearly event, bigger and better next year. Saxophonist Richard Shaw was featured. We were hoping that we will be able to have him back at the Grove sometime. We did have some technical difficulties, this being the first event in the Grove. We weren't really sure how all of the electrical equipment was going to work, so we felt that his performance, incredible performance, got cut short a little bit. So we had cultural trivia, we had the Taste of Africa dance performers, members of the South Gwinnett High School African Student Union, the spoken word performance by our former student mayor for Snellville Youth Commission, Josiah Van, Snellville Performing Arts, musical performance as well. You see some of the vendors and the delicious food choices that we had. Violinist, my personal favorite of all of the programs that we had available, the Future of Music violinist, Chadrick Thomas. South Gwinnett High School Fashion Mob was also featured at the very end of our performance. One of the things that I was most proud of when the students were planning this event, how much they emphasized interactive activities in this particular space. We had programming on the pavilion, we had face painting, henna painting, haircuts, tug of war competitions, a photo booth, number of things that also games that kids could play, things where people could really come together as a community. I was very proud of the students' ability to really tap into what would bring the community together, and you do see that many of them are featured in the pictures. So fabulous event, but again, great respect for Kelly McAloon, because this event was just maybe again, a fourth of what you go through to pull off the magnificent July 4th event. So we're hoping that our Juneteenth event becomes even bigger and better next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. And now we'll go to Councilmember Schultz.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to, like all the other council members, I also attended GMA in Savannah at the end of June. And I thought I'd tell you about my favorite class that I participated in, and it was called Trends in Urban Design. And I think that was an important class for what we're currently going through as we develop our town center in Snellville. But some of the notes that I wrote down that I wanted to share with you is the instructor said, design is all about people and making life better. And I thought that was a very interesting thought. And he also talked about the fact that rigid separation of uses, he said, is antithetical to a vibrant neighborhood life. He said if you have too much separation of like residential business, it can lead to social isolation and decline of those areas. And he mentioned the fact that eyes on the street are so important, that neighbors watching out for neighbors. And I know we always appreciate that in our neighborhood when we know that neighbors are kind of watching out. And we especially learned that on July 4th when we had a house fire in our neighborhood. And I learned that a lot of the neighbors were taking bottled water to the residents of the home. They were just trying to find out what they needed immediately after the fire. Then on the same day, we had a water main break in the neighborhood. So it was a very eventful day in our neighborhood. The speaker talked about the fact that great places have a mix of uses. They have short blocks and pedestrian areas. They have sidewalks, and he talked about the fact that the wider the sidewalks are the better, because they provide not only safety for those walking on the sidewalks from the traffic in the street, but they also look better too. He talked about the fact that symmetry and repetition. He talked about symmetry and repetition, and the fact that too much order feels very, very boring. So he said, you know, you need to strive for something between chaos and just a boring look to a place. He talked about the need for visible life, that life shouldn't be hidden away, that it should be very, very visible, like it is in our town center area where we have a lot of pedestrian areas. I thought this was interesting. He talked about the fact that the population of Americans over the age 60 will triple. Well, will double, and then those over 85 will triple. So by 2034, the older adults are going to outnumber children. That's kind of scary. Yeah. So those were some of my thoughts that I came back with that I wanted to share with you, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to attend. It's a great networking event, and it's a great opportunity to talk to folks in other cities and learn about what they're doing, and maybe come back with some ideas for Snellville. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, Gretchen. And now we'll go to Mayor Pro Tem Warner.
like all of my fellow council members, was blessed to be able to go to Savannah to the GMA conference, and I took courses in update on municipal law, because every year these guys down at the state capitol come out and they make a bunch of new changes and laws, and we love them dearly, but it's very hard to keep up on what they're doing to us. I mean, those wonderful laws they're passing. So that's always the most important class that I take, and I make sure to take it every year, because those changes change how we do business. As you've seen tonight, we're having to make some updates to various things. I took also a course with some long name that was basically economic development and creating entrepreneur-friendly cities, which pretty much was economic development. So I think I got my marching orders for the year. It's great training for all of us to keep us focused on doing best practices. But the thing that amazed me most was that our city manager, our newly minted city manager and newly minted assistant city manager were in the thick of it down there. They took courses, they attended, we have breakout sessions where they cover all sorts of topics that affect cities. And those two were down there not only networking like crazy, but they were in all of the breakout sessions, making sure that they can provide the best service to you. And to me, that deserves a round of applause. And I'll be quick with the rest of it. Yeah, and Miss Linsky is the mother that we all need to give us the schedule, to tell us where to be, where we're eating, where we're getting together. Nobody gets left behind, nobody gets lost. We even rope in members from other cities who might be down there by themselves. So thanks to her. The 4th of July celebration, as always, was absolutely fabulous. Could have been a little warmer, but to put on that event takes so many people, from Public Works to the police officers. All of our reserve police officers come in to fill the gaps. Officer Poole, who part of the time was making sure that people were respecting the cemetery. We had a couple of other volunteers from the Snellville Citizen Police Academy Alumni Association, Mary Fergus, Tom and Denise Grier from the Snellville Community Church, and Steve Neri. I know were there. I patrolled it a little myself, and then went and picked up trash afterwards, left here 12:15 at night. So if any of y'all want to volunteer next year, 12:30, someone says, we will always accept more volunteers for that, but it was a fabulous evening, and I could not have been prouder to be an American, but also to be a citizen of Snellville, because the people who showed up were on their best behavior. It was fabulous, and I really appreciate that. That being said, we have an event coming up, July 20th, the Ray Howard Earth, Wind, and Fire Tribute Band. We'll be out here on the green. Hopefully we'll see all of you there. It's going to be a fabulous night, as all the concerts are. Pray for a dry, cool evening. Let's see, what else do I have here? Oh, and the mayor is about to tell you, look at the surprise on our face, about an event that's going on in our grove this Thursday. How's that for a handoff?
Thank you for that, so I know what I'm talking about. The event happening at the Grove, now that most of the construction is done, there's still, of course, the 2 restaurants going and some other spaces to be leased up, but the developers and the city as well are anxious to start programming some things to happen in the Grove. So you may keep your eyes open on Facebook. I mean, social media is probably going to be where most of this gets put out for now. But just be looking for some things. So starting this Thursday, Hacienda is the restaurant that's coming in. They're building the Grove Taqueria. That's one of the buildings being constructed right now on Oak Road. They're going to come out with their food truck on Thursday from 6 to 9. And I believe we have King of Pops is coming for that event as well. And then there'll be some entertainment. A guitarist, I think, is planned to come out. So that's Thursday evening from 6 to 9. It was actually scheduled like 2 weeks ago and got canceled because the one night in 2 weeks that there was rain was that night. But just be looking for some there'll be small scale kind of events, maybe a guitarist there or a saxophonist or, something like that going on. Just know that we're going to be doing some things and figuring out what works and what doesn't, what people like and what they don't for down there. Again, as Norman had said, Mike Sabag, thank you for another successful Flag Day. It was a great event and well attended and a really nice program to honor the flag of our country. In the Grove, the splash pad is back open. It was closed for a couple of days to fix a little problem behind the mosaic tile wall. We certainly don't want any damage to that. So, but that's all been rectified now, so that is open again. And again, that's another thing to just watch our Facebook page if anybody's planning on coming out with kids or grandkids for the splash pad. It is essentially an above-ground pool, and there is pool maintenance that has to be done on it. So every once in a while, there might be a time where it's got to be closed for a couple of hours to do that type of maintenance. Congratulate the Snellville Youth Commission on a very successful Unity Day. I thought the event went really well. Spoke to all the vendors who had come out, and they were all excited to see. It was a lot of people's really first venture into the Grove green space area, and it was just really just a wonderful, wonderful event. So thank you. The kids worked really hard on that, and the Adult Advisory Committee that helped guide them. They just do a phenomenal job. I tell you, the kids that are on that youth commission are just outstanding, and we appreciate everything that they do. And with that, I will close my mayor's report. We will open the floor to public comment. You're able to come up, speak on one topic for 5 minutes, or no more than 5 minutes. You don't have to use all your 5 minutes. We do have one person signed up on the sheet, so I'll call them first, but you don't have to have signed up. If you'd like to come up when that person's finished, then just step forward. Ms. Worley, if you're here.
And I did sign up to speak about the development.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
Jennifer Worley, put all my information on the
Yes, ma'am.
the paper. But I do apologize for snickering and laughing. Your trip to Savannah, with your comments on somewhere between chaos and order, that's stunning to me. Been here for 30-something years, worked all over. I understand about that. I'm going to switch up what I'm going to talk about since we're postponing it till the 22nd. Worked at both the malls here in Gwinnett. So I understand the need to try and draw in people to fill the capacity of what you've built. But I think, like the townhomes that the Planning Commission okayed and promoted and recommended, those are home ownership. I think that's what we need between chaos and now I'm getting confused. Chaos and order. So with order, I find residents that own have more skin in the game, and they're going to do more to promote the quality of their life. And so that's what we would like to see. That's why we came out here. That's why we bought homes. That's why we've been paying taxes. Because most of us left the city of Atlanta. I went to City of Atlanta schools. Then I was in Decatur. Graduated from Southwest Cab. I know about chaos and order. Working at the malls, you see a lot of it. And what we need to focus on here in this city, and I understand your need and your drive to pull in more people, to pay more taxes, and to frequent more of these establishments that we're approving, and grow an urban setting. See, that's one of the reasons we moved to Snellville, was to move away from urban, to move away from those things that we considered not quality items for a residence. And I want the council to take those things into consideration. Did you discuss any of that while you were in Savannah, about quality versus quantity? Because I hope so. With the focus upon so many, because I was surprised when I came to the Planning Commission, so many multifamily housing units wanting to come in. Are we going to have a moratorium on rentals here in this city? I thought I had read about that. I know that I've read about it for Gwinnett County, because when you get too much traffic, you get too much impact on the infrastructure, as you were talking about the infrastructure. We have to really focus on not outgrowing our infrastructure. Then we're stuck with what? More taxes. We got to raise the taxes. And the people who are filling the apartments, they're not paying the taxes. It seems to all fall on the homeowners. And we're really concerned about quality over quantity. And we'd like that focus. I hope you can focus on that. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. Kelly McAloon, 2916 Overwood Lane, Snellville. Anyway, I just had to come up and say thank you to those who recognize the event. July 4th is a very, very intensive, labor-intensive, big event. So we appreciate that. There's many of us who work very hard to make that happen, to make it go off without a hitch. So the amount of people that came to this city was incredible. I heard every parking lot was filled. There wasn't a green space on that green. Everybody had a great time. We had an event without incident. To have an event of that capacity in this city, to have nothing go wrong for future events, to have the cemetery awesome, to have the fireworks show go off without a hitch. It's just one of those things, when it's done, you go, yeah, it's another one in the books. But it is a huge team effort. So every person that was involved in that event, that helped, from the police officers, from the public works department that prepare the city and events before we have the event, the officers that are there, the volunteers, our staff. So we have 2 new staff members, Annabelle Hammock and Rich Varnell, who really did a great job that night, but everybody else who helped is a volunteer. We could not do what we do in the city without our dedicated volunteers. So a big shout out really to our volunteers. And I notice friends and leadership members of Church on Main are here. We couldn't have the fireworks without them, so we want to thank Church on Main for always supporting and being our partner, having the fireworks, behind the church there, so everybody has an enjoyable time. So with that said, I want to also commend Christy Linsky. I heard wonderful, wonderful things. I was there with the Unity Day. I know I was in the initial planning meeting, and it was really a very, very nice event. People come to the events on the green, commenting on it. It was just great for the entire community. So I'm so glad the Youth Commission took a hold of that, and I look forward to seeing many of those events in the future there in the Grove. So, and I know Todd mentioned the concert coming up, and we've got the Ray Howard Band. That first hour will be R&B. 7 to 9 will be Earth, Wind, and Fire. So come on out and boogie woogie. We're going to have a great time. Like you said, please pray for no rain, and we'll be golden. It's all weather dependent on what we do here. So again, thank you all. Thank you to all the volunteers and everybody involved.
Thank you, Kelly.
Good evening. Mike Sabag, 1600 Summit View Way in the great city of Snellville, right down the street. I don't think I can beat that. This is awesome there, by the way, Kelly. This is great. I wanted to thank Councilman Carter for his remarks, Mayor, same thing. I just want to say something that Flag Day, again, for the folks that didn't know this, it started here in the City Hall of City of Snellville. Although Melissa doesn't get mentioned a whole lot, Miss Arnold, she was one of the few people, her and our IT, Erica, were part of the initial setup of Flag Day. And of course, you know, we never mention these two ladies in any of the events, but I do thank Melissa and Erica, because they were part of the initial, as far as my memory goes. I think we're talking about 14, 15 years ago. Kudos to City of Snellville for that. Of course, you know, First Baptist, you got to change? I've been a member of First Baptist Church of Maine for the past 34, 35 years, so I think nobody would miss the fact that it's still called First Baptist. They've been part of the Flag Day also, at least for the coffee piece of it in the morning, and my Sunday school teacher is right behind me, so I better be careful how I say things, otherwise I probably get picked on our next Bible study. So they've done a great job. VFW, the Boy Scouts, Fox News, Randy Travis, you all know him, he retired from Fox. Good friend of mine, his kids and my kids used to play pee-wee soccer at the time when we were growing up. So we kept in touch, and he wanted to be part of it. Now, one quick comment about Savannah training. It is, I do miss it, by the way. It's a great, great place to be at. There's a lot of learning, tremendous amount of education out there. The place is huge, especially the work sessions you're talking about. Boy, they tell you what, I got turned around during that time also. A lot of stuff, and I hope that you guys have picked up quite a bit of it. And the stuff that you didn't pick up, I'm sure you can get it through the online school. I wish I can get access to it because it's really good stuff. This is called the Georgia Municipal Association, and it's not the City of Snellville Association. This is the entire state of Georgia. And there are a lot of great people in there, and there's a lot of contribution that they put forth together. And again, as a college professor myself, I enjoy this stuff, and I hope you can pass that knowledge that you got to the little guys like us here. Thank you again, appreciate it, and we'll see you next July 20 meeting. June. No, July.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, everybody. Kat Hardrick. You need me to say it again? Every time I come up, 2280 Buckley Trail, Snellville. I want to say thank you, Christy. Juneteenth was awesome. I would like to say thanks to Miss Opal Lee, who's 95 years old, and she is the woman who fought for over 40 years to make Juneteenth a national holiday. And I want to thank you for inspiring our young leaders, our Snellville Youth Commission, for hosting Juneteenth. It was an amazing opportunity to see the young people put it together with the African dance and the African clothing and everything to remind us of how great we are in our history, because all of our histories are important. So I really love that with the saxophone player and the violinist and all of the food trucks. It was just totally amazing. So thank you for having that. And I hope we have the Snellville Juneteenth annually. I really hope so that we were able to do that. I want to say thank you to Miss Natalie Brown Van. I believe her name is Miss Rachel Brown, Mr. Marcus Huff, all of the student leadership that was there, and all of the volunteers that helped pull that together. I mean, that really spoke great, and I look forward to seeing more of that of Snellville and representing all of our cultures and diversity. I absolutely love that. I also want to say thank you, Mike Sabah, for Flag Day. That was totally amazing as well. Being a lifetime member of the American Legion and Veterans of Foreign Affairs, that's very important. And I want to say thank you as well for that. My ultimate comment is about safety. The Grove parking lot, we've talked about the mirrors over there, and I do appreciate because the attorney, Chuck, he said, hey, we have the new mirrors up. You see them? I was like, yeah, I saw them. And so they're great, they're nice. I was hoping more of the mirrors that attach to the wall because, like we already know, there's been damage with the height area with that. So the mirrors that are actually on the wall, and I don't know if you've ever driven in there, but the ones that you put, it really doesn't help that much. I mean, I frequent in there all the time. Our chamber office is in the Thrive building, so it's not as feasible as the ones that actually affix to the wall. I hope I'm not boring you, Carrie. Carrie, look, she's like, girl, you still have the fall from the vacation, the training. And so the mirrors in the Grove, I think they need to be changed to the wall-mounted mirrors that you see because the ones hanging, they're damaged, as we already know. The other thing is with the traffic calming projects. I know we have one that's coming up in your neighborhood, Councilwoman Schultz. But my question is, do we have future projects for other neighborhoods like the north part of town on Long Street, Green Valley of Hickory Hills, the Mountain View, which is at the top of Harbor Oaks, and Hawthorne Glen? You know, I've talked to people where they've had children struck by vehicles that are speeding. 3 separate, actually in your subdivision, sir, Mr. Carter, and Hawthorne Glen subdivision, 3 separate children, 3 separate houses, 3 separate speeders. And so I know that none of us want to have a child hurt. And thank God that it wasn't a fatality or anything. But if we can do something to address speeding and using those traffic calming measures in other places as well. I don't know what the future project is, but I know that you're working forward on one in Councilwoman Schultz area. So if you can either address that or send an email if we have any more calming projects with those calming traffic bumpers. What are they called? Speed. There you go. Traffic calming islands. See, we're a community. So we could have that project. If we have something going on, let us know where that's going because I don't want to I don't want to be reactive. I want to be proactive and try to help make sure that we keep our streets safe. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else?
Melvin Everson, 1725 Winding Creek Circle. Just quickly, just pay attention Sunday morning, 8:30, watch Fox Channel, and you'll see someone you're very familiar with. That's all I have to say. Come on.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close the public comment and entertain a motion to adjourn. There's a motion. Is there a second? And there's a second. Todd Warner, all in favor, raise your hand. That is 6 in favor, none opposed. We are done. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Please be safe going home.